What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another picks, preview, and predictions video covering UFC Fight Night Moreno versus Albazi in the Great White North of Edmonton, Alberta. Now, we already had a cancellation on this card. The Black Beast, a little under the weather, so he had to pull out. And we found out about that late last night. But overall, still a pretty good card here. I think there's going to be some good fights. I think there's going to be some good sleeper fights based on the matchups. What's up, Anthony? What's up, the Leprechaun? Good to see you. I know Cage Warriors early prelims just started. 16 fights on the Cage Warriors card, so don't worry, we're not missing too much. Right when we're done this UFC picks and predictions video, we'll jump right over to Cage Warriors. If you're new to the channel, smash that like button and subscribe, and let's get right into it. Jamie Lynn Horth against Ivana Petrovic. Petrovic 7-1 as a pro. She's out of Croatia. 4-1 in her last 5 fights. She did win her last fight against Ling, who was 19-7. Lost to Luana Carolina, which again, not the worst loss there. Luana Carolina was on a little bit of a run this last year. Very active, actually. Jamie Lynn Horth losing her last fight, which was her first ever loss. And it was to Veronica Hardy, who's honestly pretty solid in the division. She's well-rounded, may not like hit crazy hard and knock you out with some of the straight punches, but tough opponent, sound opponent, regardless. And Jamie Lynn Horth took her to a split decision. Now, I do think Veronica Hardy should have won that fight. Unanimous or split, but it was a closer fight. It was a competitive fight, and she's at a Squamish, which for a lot of you that means nothing. For me, I used to go visit Squamish and hike there all the time back home, as I am from British Columbia originally. Don Cherry approves. Don Cherry approves. I'm gonna go with Jamie Lynn Horth in this one. Overall in her career, she's fought better competition. 3 KO, TKO, 2 submissions, 1 decisions, 1-1 in the UFC, 1-0 in LFA. She was the LFA champion. And to win that belt, she beat a 9-3 gal. Got signed to the UFC, beat a 7-2 gal in Haley Cohen. Yeah, hasn't had a huge MMA career. Yeah, beat a 4-0 guy on the amateur scene. Beat Lupita Godinez on the amateur scene. Just a more impressive resume. I know she's 34. Petrovic is 30. Former Cage Warriors champ. But if you just compare resumes, yeah, it's like Aries champ, not even Cage Warriors amateur champ, maybe. Yeah, amateur champ and Aries champ. I mean, Wozniak's okay. That's actually a pretty good win. But overall, I think Jamie Lynn Horth is a little bit stronger as well. I think she could potentially control Petrovic with ease up against the cage in the clinch. I think her striking is a little bit better. Overall, her striking sound. I don't even know if it's really better or not, but it's sound. And I just think overall she's more well-rounded, more seasoned to fight better competition and fight at this level. Each have a 90% finish rate, though. I want to highlight that. So that is, yeah, only 1 win by decision, 6 in total finishes, 3 KO, 3 submission, and the same with Jamie Lynn Horth. So they do like to finish their opponents, which is good to see. 3 KO, 2 KOs, 2 submissions, 1 decision. Just wanted to make that note. We actually will likely see a finish in this one, and I think it's going to be Jamie Lynn Horth, the winner. Chad Alleninger against Cody Gibson. Chad, not so much of a Chad here in this one. At one point in his career on the come up, he was 13-7 as a pro up against Cody Gibson, who's 20-10 as a pro. What's up, Joshua? Good to see you. You got Jasmine. Nice. I'm excited to see her fight too. The monster out of Calgary, Alberta. Actually, he's just outside of Calgary, Alberta, in Airdrie, which, funny enough, when I lived in Alberta for a few years, when I lived in the Calgary area, I actually was just outside of Calgary, near Airdrie, and my gym was in Airdrie, funny enough. But the monster's getting up there in age. Why does every Canadian have to call themselves the monster? Kyle, the monster. Chad and Hilliger, the monster. But anyways, love Calgary, one of the most underrated cities in Canada. 13-7 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Is coming off a win 7 months ago, pretty decent win before then. Not the best losses, let's be perfectly honest. Yeah, came into the UFC 3 years ago and has only had 4 fights too. Cody Gibson, seasoned veteran, despite him being the same age as his opponent, and despite him only being 2-3 in his last 5 fights, I'm just more confident in Cody Gibson here. I feel like the last few fights that he's had, regional scene, Ultimate Fighter, as well as the UFC, and against a range of competition, I get it, but they've just been higher paced. They've just been more violent. It just seems like he can still hang with some of the guys that the UFC are giving him. Whereas the monster is seemingly slowing down. Now, he burst onto the scene via Contender Series, but then he had 4 fights in the last 3 years. It's just not enough. It's just not enough. And it was a split decision victory against Gafarov too. It was a good fight, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'm going Cody Gibson on this one. Like I said, still competing against solid guys. He's bigger, been fighting, grueling, and has looked faster. He's been fighting in grueling fights, and he's looked faster too, in my opinion. And I think he's a little bit more well-rounded. He certainly showed it off in his last few fights where they've just been all-around fights. I think he hits harder. Obviously, he has the finishing ability. Chad has the finishing ability here. But he's just, yeah, like I said, he's just been looking a little older, looking a little bit more labored. Never been knocked out. That is important to note. But he's lost 6 times via submission. And Cody Gibson has some decent grappling. But yeah, he hits hard. And if this stays on the feet, it's probably just going to be an old man war. They're not even that old. They're 37. But still, you know what I mean. All right, I'll get to your comments after this one. Surrey City up against Garrett Armfield. I think this either has the potential to be a sick fight, or Garrett Armfield is going to clinch his way to a victory. I think it could only go 2 ways. We're either going to see an amazing mixed martial arts fight where, yeah, maybe we see some scrambles on the ground as well, but for the most part, it's going to stay on the feet. We're going to see an absolute war like we saw City and Tavares put on, which split decision, it really could have gone either way. It was like City was wearing a little bit more of the damage, but his volume and just the dangerous shots that he threw were pretty crazy as well. It really could have gone either way. The fans won that one, and hopefully we see a rematch down the road. Tremendous fight. Highly recommend you guys go and watch it. I'm glad he took some time to recover too, because it was grueling. 9 months off, training a little bit. That's good. 10-2 as a pro for the prospect. Surrey City out of BTC, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. But it's Garrett Armfield, who's 10-4 as a pro, coming off a great win against Brad Katona, and then gets absolutely schooled by Brady Heiston. Now, Brady Heiston honestly has impressed me in the UFC since coming from the Ultimate Fighter. I think he's taken, it's evident that he's taken leaps and bounds developmentally. Still, I had higher expectations for Garrett Armfield. I'm just saying, especially after that Katona fight, which was really competitive. Beat Kazama, which was a pretty good win. Lost to Onama. And then, he was an FAC product. I don't like FAC. Especially 2 years ago when it was basically just James Krause feeding cans to all his guys. But anyways, I have City in this one. He is the favorite here, minus 135. Like I said, the last one was an absolute scrap. He's well-rounded. His striking's good. I will say his wrestling, Garrett Armfield's wrestling is a little bit better than his striking, but both of them well-rounded, both of them solid guys, both of them tough as nails. Armfield, 6 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, 2 decisions. Where is Surrey City? 7 KO TKOs, 1 submission, 2 decisions. Champion in BFL, champion in BTC. 2 top promotions in Canada. Won a amateur belt as well. Went 4-2 as the amateur. Yeah, we're going with, they're both 28. They're both still on the rise. We're going with Surrey City here. Bigger, longer, good striker, well-rounded, tough as nails. Like I said, Garrett Armfield, probably the better grappling, but doubt City will give up those positions easily, and I think he'll force this to be a stand-up war. So we're going with Surrey City. All right. Before we get to the big boys here, because we don't really have much to say in this one, let's get back to your comments. Yo, what's up, Alama? Good to see you, my friend Kazi. How you doing, buddy? Gibson, aka Mini Darren Till. He does kind of look like him, eh? He does kind of look like him. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. How's everybody's morning going? What are you guys watching this morning? Cage Warriors, BKFC, or ACA? There's a lot going on. All right. Alexander Romanov, and we'll jump over to Cage Warriors right after this breakdown. Romanov against Rodrigo Nascimento. Now, Rodrigo Nascimento, 11-2 as a pro. 3-1-1 in his last 5 fights, losing to our friend and yours, Derrick Lewis. Sucks Derrick Lewis is not going to be on this card anymore. It does. But anyways. Before the news, on a little bit of a run. This one is a pick'em. I'm not sure if the odds are probably swayed one way this morning. And he's 31 years of age. Alexander Romanov, 17-3 as a pro. Yes, Alexander Romanov's only 3 losses in pro mixed martial arts have come in his last 5 fights. Loss to Jailton Almeida. I cannot stand Jailton Almeida. Person seems great. Fighter. Oh my god. Emotional damage. Beat Blago Ivanov, which honestly is a solid win. Ivanov's not the most dangerous heavyweight, but he'll throw volume, and oh my god, his punching speed in the PFL was insane. They were tracking it. If you know, you know. But anyways, Ivanov's fine. That's not a bad win at all, especially a year ago. Lost to Volkov, no shame in that. Lost to Tybura, a little bit of shame in that. Beat Chase Sherman, not a bad win. Solid grappler, but is just seemingly letting himself go fight after fight. I mean, he was always a big boy. He was never stretch mark big boy. But I don't know. It's just tough for me to look at this guy and be like, this is really a professional athlete, especially when he goes on to the grappling scene, like these Fury pro grappling shows and things like that. Looks twice as big and just like gets tapped out so early. So it's tough because Romanov, 2 years ago, all the talent there for a heavyweight. Can strike, really, really good wrestling and really good jiu-jitsu and just quite dangerous. Now it's like dangerous to be suffocated. And I'm not even talking like skill-wise Roy Nelson, like put you in the crucifix, the belly crucifix. Romanov is just, I don't know. And Nascimento has pretty good grappling as well. Out of American Top Team, 6 submissions. He's never been submitted. So that's the thing. This one, they could just be like rolling on the ground for like the first round and then both of them get dead tired. So I don't know if this is going to be stay on the feet or not. If anyone's keeping this on the feet, it's probably Nascimento. He does have a good jab. 80 inches of reach. Yeah, he's got those long, gangly arms. Oh man, you know what? I need Romanov to instill or to regain my trust. If Romanov wins this one, okay. Romanov's back. I can be a little bit more confident in his performances moving forward. I can't in this one, so I'm going with Nascimento. 2 good grapplers, like I said. Kind of. Romanov hasn't been great on the grappling scene, and it's not like Nascimento has put it all together in the grappling against other heavyweights in the UFC. Longer reach, decent jab, like I said. Romanov does have good offensive grappling. Rodrigo Nascimento, decent scrambles when he's not tired. Always tries to reverse to immediately get to mount. Which, hey, if you're a heavyweight, that's exactly what you want to do. But yeah, we're going with Nascimento on this one. All right, Jack Shore versus Yusuf Zalal. Really love how this card was moved up a little bit because this one was way too early for how good of a fight it is. Don't let 8-year-olds watch it no matter how much they beg to. Little motherfucker didn't sleep till 3 a.m. Same goes with the Terrifier. Good morning. What's up, Scott? Everyone, we got a hell of a fucking day of combat sports. Yes. Was it BKFC? We got Cage Warriors that just started. ACA is going to be starting in about 10 minutes here. UFC. We got some boxing today all day. It's truly incredible, Scott. It's truly incredible. All right, Jack Shore against Yusuf Zalal at 145. And I'm just going to say this, and I think everyone's been saying this. I don't want to see Jack Shore at 145. He looks like a professional athlete, and he looks like he fits in the weight class at 135. 145 looks like he looks like a UFC fighter circa 2000. That's all I'm saying. Jack Shore, despite all that, 17-2 as a pro. His only 2 losses have come in his last 5 fights. He's 3-2 in his last 5, losing to Janderson Brito. Yeah, I don't know if his leg was broken, but heavily damaged leg. Beat Amir Khani, but that's the thing. Who hasn't beat Amir Khani? And Amir Khani's competed twice since in Octagon and lost to Ricky Simone. Timur Valley was a great win. I'll give him that. Like, he's had some good wins coming into the UFC. But just like, what has happened here? And Yusuf Zalal, again, learned how to lose early in his career. 28 years of age, out of Denver, Colorado, an insanely good striker. And he's on an absolute heater here where he's putting guys to sleep, bro. Both in the submissions and striking. Sub Jarno and Erin, sorry. Sub Billy Quantillo. Jake Childers, 9-3 guy, knocked him the fuck out. Go look at that highlight. It's brutal. A 6-2 guy, Edwin Chavez, knocked him out as well. So that's the thing. Zalal got a chance early, came back, and has absolutely been dominating in this last little run. He's a Factory X guy as well. It's tough to pick against Factory X guys. 4 KO TKOs, never been knocked out. 8 submissions, never been subbed. 3 decisions. His only losses have come via decision. 5-3-1 in the UFC, 4-2 in LFA, and he's just kind of been like, yo, I'm just not going to leave my fights to the judges anymore. And he's been on an absolute tear. His last his last 5 wins in mixed martial arts have all finished in either the first or second round. Only 2 have been finished in the second round. And in between his last 5 wins as well, how are you? Just a little kickboxing and boxing fight as well. Not a big deal. Before going back to the regional scene, he had a draw against Damon Blackshear. Not a bad, that's not bad. Lost to Sean Woodson. Split decision, no shame in that. Decision to Songwoo Choi. And a decision to Ilya Japur. It's not like he got absolutely starched in the UFC. He's just losing decisions, guys, because, again, he hasn't been knocked out. He hasn't been subbed. Look, I don't think, he actually fought some decent guys on the regional scene. 7-0 Austin Lingo. I don't think, he's a world beater when it comes to just, his skill. I don't think you watch Yusuf Zalal and be like, he's the most skilled guy in the world. But you definitely look at him and go, this is a really sound guy who has been I'm not taking a round off. I'm not leaving this to judges' scorecards. I'm going in there to finish the fight. And Jack Shore recently, again, hasn't looked like the killer Jack Shore that we've seen. Still very light on the feet. Still a good striker. But I'm going Yusuf Zalal. I think momentum's huge, and I think he's got it right now. I think he's way more dangerous, on a tear. 5-fight win streak. With 7-fight win streak with kickboxing and boxing fights as well. All finishes except for 1 boxing fight. Like I said, Jack Shore, I think he's more dangerous at 135. I think he's a little bit doughy at 145, and I just think Yusuf Zalal is probably the more better conditioned fighter at this weight class. Decision loss to Ilya Topuria, where he actually looked. There were moments. Topuria schooled him, but there were moments. Fought solid guys early. Tough to finish. Yeah, a lot of his recent losses have been close. Both like to strike. Zalal more dangerous. Zalal going to finish Jack Shore. All right, we'll get to this one and then back to your comments. Yeah, what's up, Guillotine Podcast? What's up, Sowery? Yeah, Polaris MVP versus Conda today as well. That's right. Terrifier 1 was dope too. Didn't make sense. Lisa Nick Cannon was killed. I haven't been able to go to the third. I don't want to put myself through that trauma. But I've seen the first 2. First was good. Yeah, second was just crazy. Charles Jourdain against Victor Henry. Charles Jourdain, 15-8-1 on a little bit of a dip right now. 2-3 in his last 5 fights, making his debut at 135, which didn't look like the weight cut was like I've seen Charles Jourdain look worse cutting to 145. It looked like he had a good weight cut. It looks like he fits in with this division. Again, physically, we'll see how he looks in the fight. But he's got some size now in Victor Henry. Tall, a little bit lankier, and Charles Jourdain, insanely skilled fighter. Just hasn't put it all together. Like high ceiling that I don't think he'll ever reach. But his floor is not super low either. His floor is just kind of mid, where you can see kind of the gears turn there in the cage when his game plan's not working, when he can't implement what he wants to. Now, he lost to Sean Woodson, just couldn't figure him out. Now, I think he's lucky to have gotten a split decision. Now, having said that, Sean Woodson didn't really do much in that one. Sean Woodson just didn't get hit. Sean Woodson's a tough puzzle to solve. And then Charles Jourdain had never been TKO'd. And Jean Silva, who we know now is an absolute wrecking ball. Look what he did to Dober and Charles Jourdain within a week of each other. He was the first ever guy to put Jourdain out. And look, fair enough. If you're going to be put out by a guy, it's going to be a guy like Jean Silva, who literally has hands of stones, who breaks his hands on your face. So I'm not really like super. I mean, 4 months though, that's not a lot of time to recover from your first time ever getting rocked like that. But and making a weight cut to 135, so there is that to know. And the Sean Woodson, I guess he didn't take too much damage in that one. Good win against Ramos. Good win against. He beat Kron Gracie as he should have. Yeah, see, like I thought he could have done better against Nathaniel Wood as well. Victor Henry on the other end, 24-6, a good veteran, 37 years of age, 3-1-1 in his last 5. Beat Yaya in his last fight as he should have. Oh yeah, he got his balls busted by Basharat. Split against Tony Gravely. You want to see more than just that at that point in his career. Lost to a Sun Sao 2 years ago. Beat Ronnie Barcelos. That's actually a really good win. But other than that, like I like the pace that Victor Henry puts on. His boxing's okay. Maybe a higher floor, but definitely not as high of a ceiling, which Victor Henry's never going to reach his ceiling now. He's getting up there in age. Yeah, a solid veteran who's well-rounded. Has won belts in deep against Yuki Motoya. That's actually a great win. Motoya's like the king of deep. Fought in Pancrase for titles. It's cool that he actually spent some time in Japan. Won the LXF title or whatever that's worth against a 10-7 guy, whatever, before coming into the UFC. I don't know. I'm going Charles Jourdain on this one. I think honestly, despite him winning titles on the regional scene and fighting decent guys outside the UFC, Charles Jourdain has been in the UFC for a very long time. Yeah, he's got 8 losses, but he's fought really good guys. He's been in good fights, and when he's on, he's fucking on. What else do I got here? He's gonna be bigger, still young, talented, very skilled. Goes for finishes, in his strikes, which I like as well. Employs finishing sequence in his combos. Goes for some crazy moves, some highlight reel finish stuff, and stuff that's like low risk, high reward. Not like crazy switch kicks that you're risking, slipping all the time. He doesn't always put himself in bad positions or risk a bad position to get the nice highlight, much like everybody dropping for a guillotine, it seems, these days. Charles Jourdain is well-rounded. He's got good jiu-jitsu, especially now that he'll be the taller and lankier fighter in this division. For the most part, I think he'll be able to employ his jiu-jitsu a lot more, and his striking's fucking sick, as we know. Off his back, he's actually pretty dangerous as well. He's got some wrestling, good clinch work. Obviously, Henry has a ton of experiences and fought a lot of well-rounded and skilled guys throughout his career, but Charles Jourdain is still going to be a test for him. Charles Jourdain, by the way, only has 2 wins via decision. That's what I'm saying. He likes to go for the finishing blows. All right. Next, Amin Zahabi against Pedro Munoz, but let's just quickly check in the comments. I fear Yusuf Zalal will smoke him, and I love Jack Shore's run at bantamweight. Pretty sure 3 boxing cards on today too. Yes, and I think Jay's gonna be covering pretty much every single one. And I know Cage Wars is on right now. We'll get to it right after this prediction stream, guys. 16 fights on the Cage Warriors card. We probably missed a little bit, but we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Eamon Zahabi had some things to quickly get done in the morning, so couldn't go live a little bit earlier. Eamon Zahabi against Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz is 20-9 as a pro. 1-3-1 in his last 5 fights, though. That's the he's Pedro Munoz has still looked competitive in a couple of his last fights, but the decline is evident. 38 years of age, lost to Kyler Phillips, didn't look that great in that one. Like, he was competitive in that one, but didn't look that great. But at the end of the day, it's Kyler Phillips, a guy with a high ceiling but way lower floor than that of like a Charles Jourdain, as we saw in his last fight. Lost to Marlon Vera. Beat Chris Gutierrez, which honestly, good win. Great win given how good Chris Gutierrez is. I don't know, Chris Gutierrez just seemed a little off in that one, but solid win. Obviously, the eye poke to Sean O'Malley, which he was looking good in the first round against Sean O'Malley. Lost to Dominic Cruz. Competitive fight, though. I think despite them, being similar age, he's got a lot more wear and tear on his body. He's been fighting since, 2011, 2012, something like that. Zahabi 11-2 as a pro, way less wear and tear on a tear right now. 4-1 in his last 5 fights on a 4-fight win streak. Javid Bashra is a crazy good win. Good knockout there. Beat Ricky Tercios, which if you can outpoint Ricky Tercios, good for you, because the guy just swings it there and judges give it to him. And a good win against Jocko Rodriguez. So some decent wins in that little run as well. He's coming out of a great gym. His brother is an amazing coach. 5 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 3 decisions, been knocked out once, and has lost a decision once. That's it. 5-2 in the UFC. Yeah, he lost to Vince Morales and Ricardo Ramos, man. No shame in that. We're going Zahabi. Look, man, Pedro Munoz has had a tremendous career. It's just, he's not looking the same. He's not looking the same. Like I said, Zahabi, a lot less wear and tear. Hits hard. Good everywhere, not really great everywhere. Munoz is starting to fade. Still competitive, but Zahabi's in the prime of his career right now and on a run with momentum. Faster, and Basharat's a huge win. So we're going with Zahabi. All right. Mike Malott against Trevin Giles. Now, Mike Malott was absolutely dominating his last fight against Neil Magny until he wasn't, until Neil Magny got on the full mount and finished the fight. Mike Malott's 10-2 as a pro. He's on a tremendous win going into that one in Toronto. Before then, I believe he fought on the Vancouver card and got a good win. The Canadians didn't do well on the Toronto card. They did very good on the Vancouver card, though. Can Edmonton be the tiebreaker for this last year? I think Vancouver was the previous year. But anyways, out of the last 3 cards. Mike Malott, solid wrestling. Striking's okay. It's getting a little bit better, but his grappling and wrestling, his strength is what has brought him success. He trains at a team Alpha Male and Niagara Top Team, I'm pretty sure. But I think mostly in California. Trevin Giles, a seasoned vet. He's been in the UFC for a while. Both them 32 years of age. Trevin Giles a little bit more wear and tear. 2-3 in his last 5 fights for Trevin Giles. Lost his last 2 fights to Carlos Pratas. No shame in that. And Gabriel Bonfim. Honestly, no shame in that either. Two prospects coming into the UFC with a lot of momentum. Got a split against Preston Parsons. Probably want to get more than just a split against him, but hey, you'll take it. And then a decision against Luis Koske, which he was 7-1. I mean, whatever. Lost to Michael Morales. No shame in that either. So his only 3 losses in his 5 fights have been to prospects, surging prospects in the UFC. So I just want to highlight that. And I think Trevin Giles is the better boxer than Mike Malott as well. 6 KO TKOs, 5 submissions, 5 decisions, 7-6 in the UFC. Everyone's picking Mike Malott. Finished all his opponents. I like that. 6 submissions, 4 KO TKOs. Yeah, he's no spring chicken. He's fought in the World Series of Fighting, Bellator. Oh, man. I think I'm the only one going Trevin Giles. I think Trevin Giles has enough experience where he can keep this on the feet. And I mean, there'll be moments where he's gonna have to scramble. There'll be moments when he's backs up against the cage. There'll be moments when Mike Malott takes him to the ground. Bro, Neil Magny reversed Mike Malott late in the fight. Now, I do think that was kind of, and I hate to say luck or fluke. It falls more in that category versus Neil Magny's game plan category. But I think if Trevin Giles overall, for the most part in this fight, can keep it on the feet, he's going to outstrike Mike Malott. He is. That's unless Mike Malott's boxing is really developed that much. But I mean, again, these guys are the same age. How much are you really developing at 30 years of age, right? I'm going with Trevin Giles. Like I said, yes, Mike Malott has way better grappling. And he's the underdog too. And I'd like this underdog plus 250. I'm banking on him forcing this on the feet. Only as he's only really lost to really good opponents in his last 3 fights, like I said. Mike Malott actually does have good leg kicks as well, but I don't think, again, Trevin Giles is going to be the one taking his opponent to the ground. He might lose a little pop in his shots because of that. They both have finishing ability. I like Trevin Giles' power, though. And I know Trevin Giles is slowing down and he's not super light on his feet, which concerns me a little bit given that Mike Malott does employ good leg kicks. But I'm going Trevin Giles. Again, I don't think Mike Malott is at the same level as a Carlos Prates, Gabriel Bonfim, or Michael Morales. That's kind of what I'm basing this off of. What's up, AJ? Good to see you, buddy. All right, so let's get to the next one. Marc-André Barriault against Dustin Stoltzfus. Marc-André Barriault, only 2-3 in his last 5 fights, but he's been involved in some exciting fights. And on the bad end of a big KO TKO to be like Joe Pyfer. Which, by the way, like Marc-André Barriault, like not a huge middleweight by any means, but like big guy. Bro, but Joe Pyfer made him look tiny in that fight. Joe Pyfer's huge. 34 years of age, training out of Florida, but originally from Quebec, up against Dustin Stoltzfus. 15-6 as a pro for Dustin Stoltzfus. Out of Pennsylvania, he's 32 years of age. He's 2-3 in his last 5 fights as well. Lose one, win one, lose one, win one. Last loss to Bruno Ferreira. No shame in that. Bruno Ferreira didn't look good in his last fight, but is an absolute wrecking ball. Beats Soriano, big whoop. Lost to Magomed. I don't like that loss. I don't think Magomed was that great, to be honest. Don't like that loss, to be honest. Beat Dwight Grant. Lost to Gerald Mershart. I mean, Dustin Stoltzfus, he's aight. He's aight. Honestly, both these guys are just aight. He competed in We Love MMA. Funny promotion. 2 KO TKOs, 6 submissions, 6 decisions. Solid grappler. Has some submissions in his arsenal. 2-5 in the UFC, though. This might be his last. This might be his last swan song. And yeah, just not a lot of. I mean, he beat Joe Pyfer in Joe Pyfer's first. All right, fucked up his arm. I guess that's his. Yeah, I mean, that's really. And he lost to Kyle Dawkins. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Marc-André Barriault, 16. Look, this guy ain't perfect either. 16-8 as a pro. Kind of similar record to like Jourdain in the sense that like the UFC likes him, popular amongst the Canadian fans, and he's puts up good performances even in losses. But he is getting up there in age. Not sure how much longer the power bar is going to stay at full charge. 10 KO TKOs, despite not having a lot of power in this division. 1 submission, 5 decision. He is very well rounded despite him not finishing a lot of his fights on the ground or via submission. More of like a ground and pound type of scenario. 5-7-1 in the UFC, 6-0 in TKO, 3-0 in Ligue d'Art Martiaux Mixte de Québec, and 2-1 in hybrid combat promotion. Again, I don't mind his last 2 losses. The Chris Curtis fight was a good fight. Back and forth, split decision, close fight. Competitive. Joe Pyfer got absolutely starched, though. Beat Eric Anders. Okay fight. Julian Marquez. Good fight there. Was actually competitive against Anthony Hernandez for the first 2 rounds. But then Anthony Hernandez continued to grind him down. Anthony Hernandez ended up finding the finish. Lungiambula, not a bad one. Beat Azarta when Azarta was actually something. Yeah, 3 straight losses in your first UFC fights, and they still decide to keep you. That's how you know, like they close winded or close loss. Jocko, Jinging Park, close decision. I'm going Marc-André Barriault. I'm just not confident in Stoltzfus. I mean, neither of them are anything special, but I think Marc-André Barriault's pace, his ability to throw volume, and his ability to scramble out of bad positions and actually be able to wrestle and grapple as well against someone who is dangerous on the ground in Dustin Stoltzfus. I don't think he's going to be dangerous to Marc-André Barriault. I don't think he's going to be dangerous to too many people, to be perfectly honest here. So we're going Marc-André Barriault. Fights at a crazy pace. He has taken a lot of damage recently. But how much time off was this again? But it took only 4 months off. God damn it. Always throwing volume, not a heavy hitter, decent wrestling. Look, Dustin Stoltzfus, nothing really impressive recently. Better submission threat, I guess, is what I wrote in my notes. All right, 4 more fights left, ladies and gentlemen. Big card, big card. Even without Derrick Lewis. All right. Next, we have Jasmine Jasudavicius up against Erin Lipski da Silva. Now, Erin Lipski, she looked yoked at the weigh-ins. The ceremonial weigh-ins. She looked bigger than Jasmine Jasudavicius. So I just want to note that. 17-9 for the Queen of Violence, 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Sweet. She's put on some really good performance in her last 5 fights. She's also put up some really bad performances in her last 5 fights. Look, Karine Silva, though, is an absolute beast. So I don't blame her for losing that fight. Like Karine Silva is a monster and potential future champ in the UFC. Easy win against Casey O'Neill. Good fight against Melissa Gatto. Good fight against JJ Aldrich. Absolutely destroyed Priscilla Cachoeira, but who hasn't? Jasmine Jasudavicius absolutely destroyed Priscilla Cachoeira as well. Beat Fatima Klein, wasn't able to put her out. And honestly, there were moments where Fatima Klein, who's very much a grappler, not a striker, actually came back into the fight, outstriking Jasmine at certain areas. But it was a really fun fight, back and forth war. Jasmine, won 2 rounds more clear. She won 1 round very clearly, and then it was 2 close rounds. But I did think it was the right decision. Is Jasmine Jasudavicius super polished in her striking and her grappling or anything? No, but is she good everywhere and is she a scrapper? Yes, and I think that's why we all love her. And an impressive 11-3 record, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Lost to Tracy Cortez. I mean, that doesn't look that great given how absolutely schooled Tracy Cortez got by Rose Namajunas, but still, good. I mean, overall, good fight and good win against Fatima Klein. Beat Miranda Maverick. That's a good win. Gabriel Fernandez. That's a good win. I'm going Jasmine Jasudavicius. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Started MMA pretty late, so hasn't taken a lot of damage despite being 35 years of age. Started at 26. 2 KO, TKOs, 2 submissions, 7 decisions. Has only lost 3 times by decision. 5-2 in the UFC. 2 KO, TKOs, 2 submissions. Yeah, not a bad resume. The Queen of Violence, 17-9 as a pro. Very good striker out of Kings MMA. 6 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 7 decisions. She's never been subbed, though. Never been subbed. Went undefeated in KSW before coming over to the UFC, which is awesome. And again, she lost to Priscilla Cachoeira. I thought she beat her. Sorry, my bad. That's bad. I said when I was going through it earlier that someone probably already called me out for that too in the live chat, but that's bad. All right, based on that alone, we're going Jasmine Jasudavicius. No, like I said, when Lipski's on, she's fun to watch. When she's there to collect a paycheck, she gets her ass kicked by women she shouldn't get her ass kicked. That's such a bad freaking loss. She got knocked out by her too. Because Jasmine Jasudavicius, I know Cachoeira put on or had a bad weight cut, but Jasmine Jasudavicius absolutely destroyed her, and Cachoeira barely cut any weight. So, yeah. All right. Next fight, light heavyweight, as Caio Machado makes his debut at light heavyweight, looking absolutely shredded. And I want to give him props for this. There's a lot of heavyweights out there that we look at and go, oh man, you could be a light heavyweight and you could be shredded and big at light heavyweight. Kind of like what Jared Cannonier did, but then actually moved down to middleweight where he actually was even bigger and even more shredded for that division, right? Machado looks like he's in tremendous shape and looks like he put in the fucking work since his last fight. So just want to give him props for that. Definitely probably taking advantage of the UFC PI. Brendson Ribeiro, amazing knockout on Dana White's Contender Series to get into the UFC. Then has looked pretty bad in his last 2 UFC fights. Lost to Mingying Zhang by KO TKO. Lost a decision to Gadzi Yasulov. I mean, two really bad losses. Let's be perfectly honest. Basically on the regional scene, he was knocking out cans left, right, and center, and then went up against an undefeated Bruno Lopez, who's a good guy. And in credit to Ribeiro, had a great performance, knocked him out. I remember I did a fight companion for that one. I lost my absolute shit. I think I even posted the highlight and my reaction to that. So that's probably why he's the underdog. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. I would have figured he was the favorite in this one. Kyle Machado, pressure heavyweight fighter. His boxing leaves a lot to be desired. Does he have power where he did as a heavyweight? So he's probably going to have it at light heavyweight as well. He had a decent chin. He could take a punch to give one. I would say his best wins were when he was controlling his opponent in the clinch and landing those short, dirty boxing shots. Wasn't able to do that against McParkin, and wasn't able to do that against Dontel Mize. On Contender Series, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, look, the guy trains in Vancouver, okay? The guy's a hockey fan and trains in Vancouver. He was the champion in BFL. That's Western Canada. That's where I'm from. Am I gonna root for him? Sure, but am I gonna call it for what it is and not be biased? Absolutely. He did not deserve a contract. He did not deserve a contract. The heavyweight division is very scarce in the UFC, and I understand that they're giving heavyweights a lot of rope when they sign them from the regional scene. Robel's just pain. He won a decision clinching, right? But anyways, and then it has not been able to beat McParkin or Dontel Mays. So this is do or die probably for both of these guys. And I do like how serious Machado has at least taken this move down to 205, where he actually might have an advantage being bigger than his opponent. So having said all of that, I'm rooting for him, but I'm going Ribeiro. Now, if Ribeiro loses to Machado, I'm never picking Ribeiro again. Regional scene or MMA, and he's likely going to be cut. Look, for everything good that I said about Machado, I'm just not convinced he can beat guys who are quick. And Ribeiro, at least he's got quick hands. Even if his fight IQ is not the greatest in there, if he can't land clean or put you out early, he does have tools, and I do think he is. I think he's dangerous. Now, could Machado be dangerous at 205? Yes, but again, Ribeiro is the more dangerous one-punch striker. Now, I think Machado's boxing is a little bit more crisp. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much more to say on this one. I think Ribeiro's going to crack him or do more damage. I still love you, BFL. I'm rooting for you, Machado. Machado's got decent Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but... yeah, Ribeiro's got no decision wins either, so he's gonna go for the kill. 9 KO TKO, 6 submissions. I'm hoping that my prediction is wrong here, and I'm hoping that Machado looks really good in this one, that he's found his weight class. But yeah, as an underdog, plus 125, I'm gonna go with Ribeiro. All right, let's get to the comments here before we get to the last two. What's up, AJ? Don't be an a-hole, be an MMA hole. Yo, what's up, buddy? Watching some RWS. Man, I like RWS, but this year just hasn't been a strong year for them. Same like with the UFC. Pfeiffer was a beef sausage compared to a Slim Jim stick. Yep. Marc-André, I think, gets this one. Dustin is worse in my eyes. What's up, Rust? I agree. Thank you for being a member, Rust. Nice. You get a break. Reading week. Dude, that Polish League was dope. You should highlight stuff. Yes, check it out, guys. The latest video we posted on the channel. She looked great, that's for sure. Thank you, buddy. Because it's been really bad this year, and I'm not going to wake up at 5 a.m. my time to watch this. That's not that good. Or 6 a.m. my time. Especially when I woke up early yesterday. But I have been covering. I do like the Japan cards. And don't get me wrong, like there's some good fights, but it's been like Fairtex fight level recently, and I'm like, I'm gonna get some sleep. But glad it's been a good show today. I got to start watching more RWS again. I am very excited that it is on DAZN. Tracy put some healthy weight out of camp this time. Follow her on Snap, and gotta say, it went to all the right places. All right. I'm happy to hear that. Work Point official channel streams it about 12K in the chat. Nice. Yeah, I know DAZN's also covers it. Yeah, we fuck with RWS and Thai fight here, both solid entertainment. Yo, Anthony, thank you for gifting a sub. You didn't have to do that. Thank you so much, Anthony. And Amberly got it. Let's go, dude. Thank you so much, Anthony. How was the rest of your evening yesterday? I guess you were just going to bed when I was in the chat. You got a Halloween party today, right? What's up, Metallica fan? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. Co-main event of the evening. Thank God it wasn't the main event for those folks in Edmonton. Rose Namajunas against Erin Blanchfield. Erin Blanchfield, 12-2 as a pro, but I was absolutely exposed by Manon Fior. No, I'm not going that hard. Everyone else is going crazy saying that. Manon Fior is good. She's championship level in this division. She's an amazing boxer, but also well-rounded in mixed martial arts, and it showed in the last fight. End of story. Simple. Erin Blanchfield is a very good wrestler. He's got no hands and has not learned how to put it all together yet. Manon Fior has been around the block for a while. She knows. She was able to expose the areas of Erin Blanchfield's game that still needs to be polished up, particularly her striking. And Manon Fior had solid takedown defense, and you could tell really prepped for that one. And oh, weird, Manon Fior also beat Rose Namajunas. I will say Rose Namajunas looked better in that fight and fought that fight breaking her hand. Rose Namajunas on a 2-fight win streak, absolutely destroying Tracy Cortez. This fight was closer, but I do think it was the right decision. Get lost to Manon Fior, closer fight than Manon Fior against Erin Blanchfield. And oh my God, I'm the best. I'm just not going to throw a single strike or do anything against Carla motherfucking Esparza. Absolute disgrace to the sport. Absolute disgrace to the sport. Especially coming off a freaking win against Wei Li. You're going to do that? You're going to take a piss on the sport? Right? Wring it out and throw it in the garbage? Fuck that shit, dude. Fuck that shit. I will never root for Rose Namajunas again. Ever in my life. Never. Will I pick her to win fights? Sure. Because I'm picking her to win this one. Will I root for her? Never. You are dead to me. Dead to me. Used to be such an exciting fighter. I'm the best. I'm the best at standing there and literally giving my belt to someone. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We'll never root for her again. But I do think she beats Erin Blanchfield. She's well-rounded. If she wants to get violent, she has the opportunity to get violent. She's the better striker. Her takedown defense is good. Her grappling is good. A lot stronger at this weight class where I don't think Erin Blanchfield is just going to bully her son. I don't think Erin Blanchfield is going to submit Rose with ease. I think this goes 5 rounds. Rose does more damage. Maybe Blanchfield wins a round or two. Blanchfield is going to go 2 losses in a row. Main event of the evening. Brandon Moreno against Amir Albazi. Amir Albazi, 17-1 as a pro, but coming off spinal surgery and a really tough recovery. And he didn't beat Kai Kara-France in that last fight. Let's be perfectly honest. That was one of the worst modern robberies I've seen. And that was over a year ago. And look, for 17-1 on a crazy run, and all the respect to him, he hasn't been beating the best guys. Really good gym. I like his style. His boxing is actually pretty good. Like, he's not one of these Middle Eastern fighters who have a wrestling base and who only just employ the wrestling. No, he actually has some pretty good boxing as well. 6 KO TKOs, 8 submissions, 3 decisions, and he actually goes for finishes, which is nice. 5-0 in the UFC, 2-0 in Bellator. Did not beat Kai Kara-France. But here's something like Costa, he's a fine opponent. He's a fine opponent, not a world beater. Figueiredo's brother, not that great. Honestly, kind of robbed in that one as well. Zumagulov put up a really good performance. I would have been... that one was a close fight. Go back and watch it. Malcolm Gordon, Ryan Kerr, you know what I mean? Great run. The talent is there, skills there. And honestly, if he wasn't injured, he would have gotten the title shot next, and I would have been okay with that. Brandon Moreno's had a long career, a lot of wear and tear on his body. Despite him being younger than Amir Albazi, he needed a little bit of a break this year. As he said, he's been fighting grueling fight after grueling fight, 5-rounder after 5-rounder. Amir Albazi has a lot of wear and tear on his body as well, based on literally just coming off of spinal surgery, whereas Brandon Moreno's, coming off collecting fucking Pokemon cards, which you can actually make a lot of money on. Since he mentioned that, my YouTube algorithm showed me like a couple like Pokemon pack and like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic pack unboxing or whatever shit, and I like watched a couple of shorts of it, and like there's a market to that. So Brandon Moreno's gonna be a famous YouTuber opening up Pokemon card packs when he's done fighting, I swear. But anyways, hanging out with his family, still training, but just recovering. 8 months, that's a good layoff. He said he was gonna take the whole year off, but taking 8 months off, get a paycheck before Christmas. How are you? Lost his last 2 fights, close fight to Brandon Royval. I do think Brandon Royval was the deserving winner, but it really could have gone either way. Honestly, I rewatched the fight, and yes, upon rewatching it, Pantoja won. When I watched it live at the bar after a concert, a few beers in, I was devastated that Moreno lost that one. I thought Moreno won. But anyways, may have been a little bit intoxicated. Great win against Deiveson Figueiredo. I know it was a doctor's stoppage due to the eye poke, but he was beating him anyways, or due to getting punched in the eye, not even an eye poke. Great win against Caio of France. Was able to put him out. And again, those fights against Deiveson Figueiredo were unreal. I mean, the Assassin Baby's re-entry into the UFC was nothing short of spectacular and some amazing moments. Great boxer, tough as nails. Hard to finish, even though you can drop him. He's hard to finish. His grappling and jiu-jitsu are really good as well. I mean, shit, man. He's the flyweight champ for a reason. Super well-rounded. And I do think he's just... I think he just beats Amir Albazi everywhere. Like, if Amir Albazi couldn't beat Caio France just straight up on the ground, right? Couldn't take him down with ease, couldn't ragdoll him with ease, couldn't submit him. There's no way he's doing that to Brandon Moreno. There's no way. Brandon Moreno, baby. All right. Lock of the week. Yusuf Zalal. Degenerate parlay. We're going Victor Henry, Trevin Giles, and Dustin Stoltzfus. Safe parlay. Ayman Zahabi, Surrey City, and Brandon Moreno. It was spinal. I've cracked a few UFC cases too. Nice. I bought the UFC cards. They're fun to rip them. I should do that. I should get a case sometime and open them up. I think the only, because I collected Pokemon cards when I was a kid, and I have a collection now that's going to help pay off my student loans once I get a first edition Articuno. I collected the first original when I was younger, and I went and got the set of praise and graded, and they basically were like, yeah, you need one card for this to help pay a chunk off your student loans. Not that I'm actively seeking it, but I need one more card. And then when I was a kid, I think that was during the big Yu-Gi-Oh boom too. So I had a bunch of those cards, which aren't worth as much as Pokemon, because I've looked all this shit up to try to make some money, guys. That's what poor people do. You sell your shit for money. So I'm holding on to those ones a little bit longer. But I found because my parents back home are moving, and I did an old box of my childhood shit, and they found an I think it's called LOB, the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I guess, that came out, the first in I think it was 2002. This is how little I am involved in this world. Apparently, there's a box of 24 packs that I got for my birthday when I was younger that I was I'm not gonna open because it's gonna be worth someday, and it's worth $200. So then there you go. Anyways, I couldn't imagine having to watch a Rose main event live. She's better than Mano and will beat up Erin. Rose is still disowned to us. She's going to win a second belt soon, in my opinion. Jillian subbed Rose with ease. Yeah, but that wasn't in the UFC. That was in a grappling competition. Spinal. One-dimensional Jillian. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Jillian Robertson. I mean, as the person, she seems cool. She was her podcast on Joe Rogan was good. I bought the UFC cards. They're fun to rip open. Yeah. Oh no, except slander against my girl. Nice, Anthony. You get some nice cards. Got a dope Hendo and Holloway. I'd want a Holloway. Holographic, right? Beetleborgs. Oh yes, Wishbone, the TV show. I remember Beetleborgs. This guy selling some UFC signed cards, and he had a Poeton. I bet that's worth a lot. I'm not a big like material guy, but like cards were always something I liked when I was younger. Talking bad to my girl Isha, me versus Isha in the pit. Let's go. Hey, once your hips healed up, let's roll. I gotta make my way out your way, Anthony, soon. I want to go storm chasing with you sometime. Yeah, she seems cool, but man, she's boring to watch. Now I want a Sanhagen one. All right, guys, I gotta run. I'm gonna quickly just grab a bite to eat. Just honestly, probably a quick little thing of yogurt, and then we're gonna jump on the Cage Wars stream. I know Cage Wars we're like an hour and a half in, but it's a 16 fight card, ladies and gentlemen. We're still gonna stream like 4 hours of it. Then after we'll jump over to UFC. So Cage for UFC next. Yeah, in like 5 to 10 minutes. All right. I know and let me know what fights for Cage Wars that I missed, but I wanted to sneak this in. Wasn't able to do it last night. And it's 16 fights on Cage Wars, guys. All right. We can miss a couple of them. All right, guys. We'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you so much for joining. If you made it this far, comment on the video after it's posted what your picks are. Like and subscribe. And we will see you for Cage Wars and UFC later today. Always remember, in this case,
It's her default.
it's actually Derrick Lewis's fault for being sick. And it sucks that he went to Edmonton 2 weeks early to prepare. And he got sick there because it's damn cold in Edmonton. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.